Aloha. My name is Christopher Smith once again. First off, I'd just like to apologize to my classmates for being late. I'm in the middle of a move from Hawaii to Ohio, and it's been tough going trying to get everything situated and squared away. So I had to ask our teacher for an extension. So I apologize for that, and I know it's hard when you only have a couple of classmates to comment on. So with that said, Bertrand Russell said, "War does not determine who is right, only who is left." Today I'm going to talk to you about support for military survivors of war. And I can stand up here all day and talk about different organizations that help vets. Unfortunately, I only have a few minutes. And the purpose of my speech is hopefully to persuade you to help our vets out a little more. Unfortunately, even myself coming back from Afghanistan on my second, third tour, uh, we got spat on and stuff thrown at us, protesters, and I never thought I'd have to go through the same things that my dad did coming back from Vietnam. First, I'm going to talk to you about the Department of Veterans Affairs. Then I'm going to talk to you about the Wounded Warrior Project, and lastly about the Air Force Sergeants Association, which is kind of specific to my branch of the Air Force. According to retired General Eric Shinseki, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs is a government-run military veteran benefit system with cabinet-level status. It is the United States government's second largest department after the Department of Defense. It's headed by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Aaron Shinseki, who is appointed by the President. Now, the VA employs nearly 280,000 people around the world. Benefits provided include disability compensation, pension, education, home loans, life insurance, vocational rehabilitation, survivors benefits, medical benefits, and burial benefits. I can tell you personally, I've benefited from the Veterans Affairs, and I think it's a great organization. Now, I don't know about after I retire. I've heard horror stories, but hopefully it's still just as good. Eligibility for most Veterans Affairs benefits is based on discharge from active military service under other than dishonorable conditions. So if you get a dishonorable discharge, you're not going to have these Veterans Affairs. Next, I'm going to talk to you about the Wounded Warrior Project. According to Anthony Principi, Vice President of the Wounded Warrior Project, the project works to raise awareness and enlist the public's aid for the needs of severely injured servicemen and women, and to provide unique, direct programs and services to meet their needs. Now, their mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Purpose is to raise awareness. Iraq and Afghanistan war, there are wounded warriors that came back missing limbs. All right, their headquarters is in Jacksonville, Florida, and they have offices throughout the United States. They were established in 2003 by veterans for veterans, and 2003, coincidentally, is when the Iraq War started, March 19th. And there are many programs, including Combat Stress Recovery Program, and the reason they started this program is because of the stigma from military individuals seeking out mental health after redeploying from wartime environment. They were worried about losing it, including myself, worried about going to mental health and impacting their career and them losing their job. Now, I know what you're thinking. Losing your job doesn't sound like a big deal to most people. I could just get another job. But when you have 15, 16, 17 years invested in a career toward retirement, it's kind of a big deal. So a lot of veterans were not seeking out mental health treatment, and I know from personal experience, the longer you wait to seek mental health treatment, the worse it gets. Lastly, Warriors to Work assist warriors with their transition. So what they do is they take warriors and they'll try to find them jobs that meet their needs and can align with their skill set that they had while in the military, while not overwhelming their PTSD or their traumatic brain injuries or whatever they may have. So lastly, I'm going to talk to you about the Air Force specific uh, benefit, and that's the Air Force Sergeants Association. Now, all branches of the military have some kind of association that fights for them in Congress to get money um, and to keep our benefits from going away. Now, Jeffrey E. Ledoux describes the Air Force Sergeants Association as a federally chartered nonprofit organization representing the professional and personal interests of active duty, retired, and veteran total Air Force and their families. So, like I just said, all branches have some form of the Air Force Sergeants Association that protect the interests of the active duty and the retired of that specific branch. If they didn't have these types of organizations, then I believe personally that a lot of our benefits would be taken away. For instance, just recently, tuition assistance went away, and it only lasted a couple of weeks, maybe a month for some services. But that's because our associations got involved and they expressed the importance of getting higher education and more highly trained military personnel. Now, AFSA was founded and incorporated on 3 May 1961, so it's been around for a little while. The chief executive officer is John Doc McCaslin, and AFSA is governed by a 21-member executive council. The council consists of a president, vice president, and 5 trustees. Now, the bottom line, number one, upfront mission is support for the Air Force and its programs. That's what they're there for. So, whatever branch you're in, whatever organization is like the Air Force Sergeants Association, I encourage you to support them because they're out there fighting for our rights. So, in conclusion, I talked to you first about the Department of Veterans Affairs, that their disability compensation, life insurance, burial benefits, to name a few. Then I went on to talk to you about the Wounded Warrior Project. Told you that they honor and empower wounded warriors of the United States Armed Forces. And last, I talked to you about the Air Force Sergeants Associations, or other service equivalent. And they represent interests of active duty, retired, veterans, and their families. But their bottom line upfront mission is support for the Air Force and its programs. Now, hopefully, my little speech has helped you understand a little bit more about the programs the military offers, especially if a civilian's watching this. And just know that some military members I know come across as saying that they think that people owe them something. I can tell you that's like 1%. Most military members don't want anything, just to be left alone. You know, it's a job for us to support our family, but I can tell you that most of us are doing it to serve our country, and not for educational benefits, and not because we have to, because we all volunteered. But we do it because we love our country, we want to support it, and we want to defend the freedom, and that's why I do it. So I hope I persuaded you a little bit to support the military a little more, and that's it for me. Thank you, and have a nice day. Mahalo.